A union steward goes to a brothel. Okay, that's funny. As a union member, I approve this joke. Playful face. And Teresa is due to retire next month after 35 grueling years of servicing men and probably a few ladies over and over again. I've heard it. As union man looks around the room. Spies a beautiful blonde. I'd like to spend some time with her. I'm sure you would, says the madam, but Mabel here has seniority. I'm going to tell this one after my union meeting tomorrow night. How much does the union get? A stripper I knew in Las Vegas complained that the shifts were assigned by seniority. I commented that I had seen a few seniors at that job. Almost every mythical creature sighting in ancient times can be explained by the fact that visually impaired people didn't have glasses back then. I'm always seeing dragons when I forget my glasses. We have pictures and video. Back then they had stories and hand-drawn sketches. If you hadn't visited a zoo you might find elephants or giraffes unbelievable too. More so that people told tall tales and other people believed them because they simply didn't know better. And then over time the tales got taller and taller. Or some variation of that formula. An Italian guy is out picking up women in Rome. While at his favorite bar, he manages to attract one rather attractive-looking blonde. Well, at least she got a good railing. Wow, after all that she couldn't just pretend to be Finnish? Interestingly, all Swedish warships have a barcode on the way. When they come back from a tour, the military can Scandinavian. Norway. Is this story real? Damn, I need that skill. Lasting long? No, getting women. My boss loves to tell stories about his year abroad in Finland. I could see that one coming. By that one I don't mean the punchline. I mean the Swedish woman saw that coming a mile away. Very funny. Donuts are cake. Society says you can eat 24/7, but if you eat actual cake for breakfast, people will judge you. Muffins are actual cake you can eat for breakfast. Cake donuts are cake. Yeast donuts aka real donuts are a pastry. My mom says cake for breakfast is acceptable because there's eggs and milk in there. I don't know where you live, but where I am, donuts are definitely not an acceptable breakfast. TBF breakfast is crazy. People will judge you for eating anything that isn't included in their breakfast. Give me my cake for breakfast. I don't care about judgment. The only thing I'm taking away from this post is Cake Society. It's all just bread with varying amounts of sugar and toppings. I won't judge you. Anyone that does is just jealous they don't have cake. Eat cake anytime. I don't like coffee. On what grounds are you basing your decision? I don't like tea. It's not my cup of coffee. Why did you have to espresso these negative opinions? I know what you mean. I've been there. You should talk to Joe. Maybe he can warm you up to it. Not everyone can handle coffee. It's a grind. I only drink tea when I'm hunting. It goes well with my chamomile. What made you spill the beans? Didn't have to bag it up. A little latte to this thread. Was having an English breakfast. You could always detox with decaf. Definitely doesn't wake you up as good as Coke. You're not on your grind. Have you tried your coffee crisp? You never tried coffee. Been mugged in the past or something? I made love to my wife this past weekend for an hour and 1 minute straight. This joke only works during spring forward. Your poor wife, you only last a minute and you don't know how daylight savings works. Your wife said the sex was so bad, that the clocks went back an hour to erase the experience from history. How many minutes gay? Lives in Oz. Def a joke to tell the kids, Dad. Yep. How long did you do it gay? Don McMillan told it better. Yeah. Fall back, dumbass. Whoa, me too. Smiley face, smiley face. Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. You did better than me. I made love to your wife for 10 minutes. Good job, sir. You are laying it down the way Lord meant for you. We can't fail our wives by giving them weak dick. So we're the other 59 minutes gay? Could have said made love from 2 a.m. to 1 a.m. FML, I was about to congratulate you too. SMH. I rescued a cow from a slaughterhouse. That's utter nonsense. Nice, I'm taking this. Should have rescued Slaughterhouse 5 just for the Vonnegut. I should have a real beef with this one, but that's a grade A dad joke. What are you wearing, Jake from Steak Leather? Can I call him if I get T-boned? Prime choice in selecting a name. And someone explain this to me. Where's the beef? This is just a bunch of masculine bovine feces. Did you rescue before they cut off the legs? Or ground beef? Sounds like a real mistake. Move over, Jake, to the back of the line. Steak sounds farm. One piece at a time. That joke was raw. Was it a moving experience? A cow named Jake? Pronouns them. Rescued a cow. Named them Jake? ESL or gender crisis? Aretha Franklin required that she be paid in cash before any performance. The cash went into her handbag and the handbag either stayed with her security team or would rest on the piano during her on-stage performance. To be fair, she did star in the Blues Brothers. She saw what kind of shenanigans they get up to at Bob's Country Bunker. Chuck Berry would do the same thing. My wife worked at the casino in STL that he used to play regularly. Every time he showed up, he got paid cash in advance before taking the stage. She had around $1 million in uncashed checks lying around her house and in her purse when she passed away. I used to be on the board of a street festival, and most of our performers would demand cash, but usually they would wait until they were off stage, and no purse was involved. Chuck Berry always did it this way too, minus the purse. The music biz is full of scummy people, and always has been. Till a Kentucky man was awarded $450,000 in a lawsuit against his ex-employers who purportedly terminated him due to a panic attack he had at his surprise birthday party, causing him to leave. I read that he did say he doesn't want a birthday party due to his social anxiety, and was promptly ignored, and ended up having a panic attack when they did the surprise. Was it really that hard to listen to him? Ignoring him and throwing a party despite the fact he objected isn't being nice or helping with building team mentality, it's straight up harassment and bullying. In case there's any confusion, he didn't get awarded $450,000 because of the party, he got $450,000 because he asked them not to throw him a surprise party due to his panic disorder. They threw him a surprise party anyway, he had a panic attack, and then they fired him for having the panic douchebags. Till, due to being a Scientologist, Kirstie Alley decided not to reprise her role as Rebecca Howe on the Cheers spin-off Frasier, because Frasier is a psychiatrist. As one of the makers answered when this came up in an interview, I don't recall asking. Direct source: Scientologists realize that their mental illness is so obvious that even an actor playing a psychiatrist could diagnose it. That's why she was such a hot mess in the 90s. Her absence in Frasier was hardly noteworthy. The show did fine without a cameo from her. Plenty of other celebrities took part. She did not reprise her role in Star Trek because Scientology looked into the future and the Vulcans deemed Scientology as not logical. Ha ha ha. That's so lame. Scientologists believe that Scientology can replace psychiatry. And they pretend they help people with addiction problems, but all they want is more slaves for their military yachts. And nothing of value was lost. Till ex-Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer admitted that in 2013 Yahoo should have purchased either Netflix at $4 billion or Hulu at $1.3 billion instead of buying Tumblr at $1.1 billion, stating it would have been a better acquisition. By 2016, Yahoo had to write down Tumblr's value by a total $712 million. Tumblr didn't just randomly lose value. It was 100 caused by Yahoo management decisions that drove that platform into the ground. They didn't even bother to look at why the platform was successful before they bought it. Yahoo is not a great company for a reason, and it has nothing to do with bad luck. When you find out Yahoo could have bought Netflix or Hulu, you should be hearing, look at what Yahoo could have ruined also. Yahoo literally killed Tumblr. It was my main platform. Till in 2005, Sotheby's Christie's had to play rock paper scissors over an art collection. Sotheby's assumed it was random chance, so had no strategy. But Christie's studied the game, asked two 11-year-old twin girls, who picked scissors. Rock is way too obvious, and scissors beats paper. Christie's won. They studied the game and then asked two 11-year-olds. They should have just did what that hyper-annoying kid in elementary school always did and just shouted atom bomb or machine gun and then claimed he won. I do hope the girls got a cut of the commission. Interesting story, but not sure why the seller didn't have them submit sealed bids on reduced commission costs. Poor predictable Bart always chooses rock. When playing against a man, always choose rock. A man will almost always subconsciously choose the hard or sharp thing. Tyre wins 75 of the time. The inventor of autocorrect died. He will be missed. Duck. Rust in peace. Thongs will never be the same. They gave him a transfusion with the wrong blood type, type O. Dem tat socks. Will it be open basket? This word is a cruel case. Condoms to the bearded family. He will be pissed. I'd attempt the fun error, but I'm bust that say. I'm so sack about his death. Ducking hell. R.I.P. Rust and piss. I'm choppy for your gloss. Here's an update. Autocorrect. I am sick of your shirt. I'm looking forward to the fun Ariel. I'm sporty for your laws. Rest in peach. His window is indisposable. Thoughts in pairs. So Siri for your loose. What celebrity death are you surprised hasn't happened yet? Every time I see Bam Margera's name in a headline, I think it's finally the one. I love him, but Ozzy. I'm not sure how he's still alive. Dick Van Dyke. He's 97. Willie Nelson just celebrated his 90th birthday. Stay on the road again, Willie. Jimmy Carter. Kissinger. That bastard keeps on living. Bam Margera. Michael J. Fox. According to his Parkinson's Foundation, expectancy after diagnosis is 10-20 years. He was diagnosed 32 years ago. More power to him. David Attenborough. Absolute national treasure. But he's 97 and his wife died in the 90s. It's unusual, but similar to the Queen, I'd expect it to be sudden. Jimmy Carter will bury us all. Keith Richards. The man is eternal. Ric Flair. especially since he acts like he can still wrestle. What do you call a food fight with an unlimited amount of food? This is so good, smiley face. A feast fight. I won't even try to make a pun on this one. Congrats, it already started. I was there yesterday. God match, I came in here with low expectations, as most jokes here aren't that great. I was pleasantly surprised. Take my upvote, buffet melee. Was it a fast food fight or a healthy food fight? Nice one. Waste. Damn, that's good. Wild laddie. Oh man, my kids would have loved that when they were saying yeet all the time. No idea? Makes zero sense. Just pure ugh. Ha. A stomach punch. If this happens in Canada and you're naked, they say you're fighting in the buff. Start slinging beer and you've got yourself an old-fashioned brew. Haha. Waste. Disappointed in myself. Apparently I'm now old. I had to look up what yeet meant. Now that I understand, one of the better jokes I've seen in a while. What is a really loud color? Glad I read this. I'm blue that it's yellow. This joke is gold. I'll one-up that. Yell loud. It's not that loud. I think you blew this out of proportion. This seems like a gray area. What about the geriatric loud color? Old yeller. Orange. You glad that it wasn't something else? Nah. White, pink and brown are the ones that make noise. All that loud yellow makes me feel blue. Red, neon green or yellow. Yeller. NM is a unit used to measure torquios. This joke has me greening. Red. What is that one specific sound that we all know, regardless where we are from? A baby crying. Fucking mosquito that is trying to find your unprotected vein in the middle of the night. Fart. When your mom pulls up to the house and you didn't do anything she told you to do. Thunder. Let me think. Cracks knuckles. A fed up mother is universal in every language. The sound of rain. The sound of wind going by your ears. When hot water is being poured into a cup. We know it's not cold water. A dog or cat about to throw up. That tube that goes ooh chew you. Wilhelm scream. Black exclamation mark. DHX. The law order space gavel. Silence. It's really noticeable when a room is loud and suddenly goes silent. I'm sure most people around the world have experienced this in one way or another. A bag of chips opening. The racking of a shotgun. Trains. The Gluck Gluck 3000. A meow. What unforgivable act by a celebrity did the public seem to forget too easily? Soulja Boy beat a pregnant woman into having a miscarriage. Remember when a 16-year-old girl overdosed in Don Henley's house? He pled guilty to minor misdemeanor charges and then wrote a song about how mean the media was to I feel like almost no one does. Film reviewer, journalist, and executive in the film business Philip Burke assaulted Brandon Fraser sexually, but he was spared since he claimed it was all in joke and had no sexual intent. If any of us had raised that defense, we would have all been in prison underground. Floyd Mayweather beat the shit out of his former girlfriend, and got away with it because the judge allowed him to train for a fight he was headlining. Boy George abducted tortured a man in 2007. 28-year-old Jimmy Page in a relationship with a 13-year-old. What's a drug you'd never try ever again and why? Meth. Did it once, for 3 days. Honestly didn't even do that much. After 3 days you see tons of stuff that isn't there. It's scary. Heroin. Ruined my life. Opiates. I got morphine a couple times when I got my appendix removed and I realized then and there that I would abuse it if I did it recreationally. Crack. Watched good private schoolmates end up dead or in jail. Some of them are toothless junkies now. Almost got busted by police myself and narrowly escaped a long stretch. Went cold turkey overnight and haven't touched it in 8 years now. I took several OxyContin for a medical issue once. Coming off it I got this wave of hopeless depression wash over me for like a day. I can totally understand why some people will do anything to avoid that feeling, including taking more Oxy. What's an underrated sexual experience that you think more people should try? If you're older, late 30s here, making out and over the clothes rubbing and grinding. Sex becomes this rush thing when you get older. Every once in a while, spending that little extra time to get that build up and tease each other is just hot face. Play fighting leading into face sitting. Using toys in sex. If it improves my chances of giving the woman I'm with an orgasm, then I'm gonna take advantage because it'll improve the whole sexual experience. Stop being shy during sex. I like when my wife masturbates in front of me and I like to masturbate in front of her. We use toys and let the sheets get wet. Sex has been extraordinarily good. Having a Swedish penis pump, but claiming that it's not mine, baby. Yeah. Clown is the only legitimate profession that's also an insult. People who actually package fudge have probably had to change their job title. Garbage man? In school in the 90s, calling some kids dad bin man was a common, now evolved to as meaning a drug dealer. Unless you're British, then everything can be used as an insult. You absolute plumber. You total dentist. What are ya? A complete quantity surveyor, that's what you are. I see why padded legitimate. Used car salesman. Gotcha. You saying nerf herders ain't legit? Being a clown requires a combination of acrobatics, juggling, magic, and stand-up. Everyone you know would not make it through. Clowns should be respected. Sex work is legitimate work in the eyes of the law as well where I live, and there's plenty of nasty names for that. In a lot of ways, it's more expensive to be poor. The Vimesboot theory of economics. Who's going to copy-paste it first? The old saying goes, you gotta have money to make money. Not just that, but money makes money. The more money you have, the more money it makes. If you have several millions of dollars, the passive income alone can easily cover any middle-class salary with essentially no risk. ESP now with high interest, people can literally live off of money that gets made by their piles of money. Late fees for people that don't have the money to pay their bills on time. There's a nearby supermarket that sells in wholesale, but the membership costs $100 a year. It saved us a ton of money, until we couldn't afford the renewal. Plaza save us trickle-down economics. Interviewer: how much amount of milk does your cow produce? Tourist: look, a bunch of cows. Cowboy: not bunch, herd. Tourist: herd of cows. Tourist: sure, I've heard of cows. Cowboy: no, a cow herd. Tourist: that's okay. I have no secrets to keep from cows. Interviewer: that's it, I have enough of this shit, fuck your stupid cow. Farmer: which one? The black one or the white one? Interviewer: so what color are your cows? Farmer: the black one or the white one? Interviewer: the white one. This is one of my favorite jokes of all time, but the answers are not the same. One is for the black cow, and one is for the white cow. In the first answer, the farmer establishes that both cows are his. Interviewer is a fool to ask again at the end. In the 70s they were sheep, white sheep and black sheep. Now I want to remix this joke with two cars, a black one and a red one. Iris H.R. ha di no tbn ha mi fo rove are 5 years. Uppo and he are retor and he are faith are cursed he are heavily. Paragraphs can be your friend. Good old number 73. That joke is as old as Ireland. Gets tiring hitting enter or return twice every few sentences. A wall of text saves effort and seconds. Been at least a month. Has it been a month? I'm happy to announce I was the 500th upvote. Would said Irish daughter care to celebrate with me? Money no prostitute has made ever. Impressive, a sex worker who knows how to save. Why I love Reddit. Pointing finger, smiley face. Liquor enthusiasts always list off non-consumable items when describing the taste of liquor. Some wines are likened with cat piss. I detect a fruity, spicy bouquet, as though Dr. Pepper married cinnamon, and chose to adopt for ethical reasons. Not always. When I studied wine for the sommelier test, it was never asked what kind of cat piss. But they asked grapefruit sour, or sugared, or candied, or the downs were always taste related. Some red wines get baseball glove. They never asked catcher or pitcher. But they always asked, with dark fruit like, Bing, candy, or baked. Tastes like a campfire, which I guess is both non-consumable and consumable. This has hints of copper wiring, a subtle undertaste of burnt asbestos, and, yes, I'm getting humorous little tones of unicorn's ballsack. Nothing about the plot of Pixar's Cars necessitates the characters being actual cars. The first movie is essentially Doc Hollywood, but they're cars. Nothing about the plot of any other movie necessitates the characters being humans instead of sentient cars. All movies should be cars. You wouldn't see Owen Wilson crawl up inside Ratzenberger's backside in live action. Probably. And what are the sidewalks there for? It's necessary for the visual jokes and to make it kid-friendly. If Fitz was all people, the visual of, say, an audience watching a race, would no longer be funny or interesting to kids. Just like how a guy in a top hat is whatever, but a frog in a top hat is funny. The 10 billion in toy and merchandise sales that movie generated say otherwise. Disney. Still a woman born with birth defects caused by Chernobyl, including 6 toes, webbed fingers, no thumbs, leg 15 centimeters shorter than the other, and missing some organs, won a gold medal in the Paralympics for cross-country skiing. Right from birth I was put up for adoption. I was born with 6 toes, I was missing the main weight-bearing bones in my legs, my knees were floating, they weren't supported by anything. My hands were webbed, I was born with 5 fingers, without thumbs. I don't have a right bicep, I'm missing some organs. I have 1 kidney and don't have any enamel on my teeth. When I came to America I found out that the only thing that can strip enamel before birth is radiation. Good on her. She might be missing some organs, but it's certainly not her heart. Flexed biceps. Some other medals she won are listed in this article. What a badass. Till actor Andrew Garfield bagged the Amazing Spider-Man role due to an unreleased scene of him eating a cheeseburger and telling Gwen Stacy to calm down. The way he ate the food was described by the film's director Mark Webb as something I just hadn't seen before and that it worked. To be fair, his Peter Parker was pretty unique, and oddly compelling. I've heard people say he was too cool to be Peter and I kind of agree. He'd have been by far the most popular kid at my school. But that's fine, it was a fresh take and made his perfect approach to Spider-Man make sense. Need to see the tape to appreciate here. Release the burger cut. I'm just imagining that scene in Into the Spider-Verse where Peter eats a cheeseburger while talking to Miles. He solidified his role as a good choice in the last Spider-Man with Tom that had Andrew and Tobey too. Andrew's version was priceless in those scenes. Till that Gavrilo Princip, the assassin that killed Archduke Franz Ferdinand, which triggered World War I, didn't get a death sentence nor a life sentence, but only 20 years. But he died in prison 3 years into his sentence anyways. He was chained to a wall in solitary confinement, developed tuberculosis so bad his arm had to be amputated, and was so malnourished he was 88 pounds when he died. It was a death sentence. It was because he was only 19 at the time of the killings. He was too young to get life in prison under Austria-Hungarian law at the time. Till that the largest battle of the American Revolutionary War took place in Europe. America's Spanish and French allies besieged Gibraltar, at one point attacking with 60,000 men, but were defeated by the 5,000 British defenders. I would love to see a breakdown of how the British won. More than 10-to-1 forces. Everybody knows that The Rock only takes the winning side. I don't quite understand why it would be called part of the American Revolutionary War since Great Britain was at war with France at the time. France and temporary ally Spain decided to take advantage of the thinly spread forces and attacked Gibraltar, which had always been a thorn in the side of Spain. I don't see any connection to the American Revolutionary War, other than that 60,000 versus 5,000 Brits, they never stood a chance. Paraffin oil and best brown paper won the day yet again. GG, no re. The Brits, probably. There aren't any famous scientists anymore. It's rare a lone scientist makes any major breakthroughs these days. Science is just too complicated, and it takes an entire team of very smart people just to confirm something a scientist theorized half a century ago. Brian May. He discovered what makes the rockin' world go round. There are such as Jane Goodall. It was like 200 years between Newton and the Einstein-Bohr-Oppenheimer generation. The early 20th century was notable for the development of massively paradigm-shifting physics with the introduction of relativity then quantum mechanics. Everything since then has been incremental refinement, not tectonic shifts. It will likely be some time before science takes another big jump like that. They're simply just not known to the layperson. There are plenty of famous scientists in their respective fields. I'm sure you've heard about the Higgs particle. That's Peter Higgs. This blonde decides one day that she is sick and tired of all these blonde jokes and how all blondes are perceived as stupid, so she decides to show her husband that blondes really are smart. One blonde tells another, "I just took a pregnancy test." The other replies, "Were the questions hard? So then why are you wearing the scarf? What do you have when you find a blonde skeleton in a hide-and-seek champion of the world?" A blonde threw a pin at me the other day. I ran like fuck. She had a grenade in her hand. What do you call a blonde who has dyed her hair intelligence? How does painting a room demonstrate intelligence? Man, she really is a blonde. What do you call a group of blondes sitting in a circle? A dope ring. How do you kill a dumb blonde? Put a scratch and sniff sticker at the bottom of a pool. There was a smart blonde who did great things as a brunette. What's the difference between a blonde and a 747? Not everyone has been in a 747. Lame. What do women actually expect guys to do at bars? I'm a bartender in a small town and honestly what I have seen is just free drinks and a little flirt or honestly nothing at all. Women just want men to be sensitive to their subtle signals. Take last Saturday for example. I approached a woman and asked if I could buy her a drink. She replied, "Fuck off, creep." I knew right away that this wasn't going to work out. Get drunk and talk to Mo about this episode's problem, the bartender. She sells me drinks. I leave her, have a great relationship. Show your colorful plumage, dance around in circles, build a spot for the woman with a pile of recently gathered driftwood. I don't. I just stand there, like the awkward introvert I am, waiting for an eye contact. When that happens, I quickly turn my gaze away to not be perceived as a creep. Haven't had a date for 5 years now. What is the weirdest thing you are or saw someone addicted to? Used to work with a girl who would just chug liters of strawberry milk. Every time I went to the toilet after her it stank of milk. She was eventually diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and gave up the milk. Briefly, I remember seeing this dude on a British television program who had conquered his addiction to taking selfies and wanted to warn other people about the dangers. And the host was like, "You realize you're a fucking wanker and this isn't a problem anyone else has ever had? Have a friend addicted to the smell that comes out when you light up a match." Robo tripping. One of good friends was addicted to dextromethorphan and had a pretty serious overdose while he was in class in high school. I've taken large doses of DXM and cannot understand doing it more than a handful of times. I'll never forget the episode of my strange addiction where the woman couldn't stop eating her husband's ashes. Flushed face. What massively improved your mental health? Knowing it's okay to leave some people behind. Sleep. Putting a stop to my social media use and substituting reading for my time spent there with books. I have completed 6 books since the beginning of January. It makes me feel really good about myself. Stopped lying to myself and others, accepted myself for who I was. Cardio for at least 30 minutes, preferably in sunlight or at least outdoors, 5 or more times a week. It sucks at how well it works. I used to hate my mom telling me that exercise would reduce my depression, but she was absolutely right. The issue is that when you're really depressed, it's the last thing you feel like doing. But nothing else has as much of a positive effect on my mental state as regular exercise. Quit teaching high school. Got much less stress. I finally quit smoking. What's the darkest side of humanity you've ever seen? I was in hospital. I was a sick kid with a 3 or 4-year-old. His mom had given him caustic soda in his bottle. It melted half his tongue away. He lived in a hospice with some nuns and he'd come in weekly to have his tongue stretched in the hopes he'd be able to talk. One was cute as a button. I wonder how he's doing. He'd be in his 20s now. I worked in child protection, so I saw a lot. Worst was an 8-year-old that had been trafficked and abused for 4 years and killed herself at 10 years old. 2 years ago a girl from my school got raped by 3 guys and posted online. One committed suicide and the other 2 had fled the country. Most of my school has seen it and she is living in severe depression and social anxiety. So sad. What's the worst piece of tech you've ever owned? HP printer. Just plain dystopian. Mandatory online account and internet connection to scan a paper when the printer is connected via cable. Drives me mad. Printers. Even the best printers I've ever had have only worked acceptably. That awful case management program that needed a network share to which all users had read-write access and which held all the private client information. And repeatedly printers, though. Amazon Fire Kids. What a complete piece of unintuitive, non-customizable, terrible UI garbage that thing was. A smart toaster, it was smart enough to burn it. With Omegle shutting down, what are some disturbing stories about the site? Kermit the Frog fucking jerks off on there. Can't believe the site lasted so long. My entire experience with the site almost exclusively involved far too young children. Vaping teenagers or Indian dudes asked me to show Bob. Didn't Snipper Wolf catfish kids for nudes on Omegle. Once saw someone streaming a Vince Vaughn movie on there. No warning, no asking, just unexpected couples retreat. I still have nightmares about it. Some guy sent me a video of himself raping a kid once. I tried to message the FBI cause American accent in the video about it but didn't manage because of parts of the website being blocked in EU. Still haunts me to this day. Because I couldn't do anything about it. This was around 13 years ago.